Are you new to festivals or download, or maybe just want some tips? Then you're in the right place. So I'm going to start with the absolute basics that I think everyone needs, and obviously you're going to need a tent. If you need help with guy ropes, I'll have a little mini guide at the end of the video for that. Second of all, I think you need a good camping bag, because you're going to have to be lugging all your stuff to the campsite, especially if you're on coaches or trains. You've got to kind of do it in one trip. Even in the car, it's really handy just to have something where you can carry all your essential stuff on your back so you know it's safe. A tip I did learn from 2019 when it was absolutely pouring it down: put all your clothes in a bin bag so that you don't get there and it's just absolutely soaked, especially if it's pouring down when you're arriving. Speaking of bags, you'll want a smaller bag that you can take into the arena with you to bring any essentials that you want to bring with you. Make sure if there's any medication you need that you absolutely make sure it's with you before you get there, because you're going to be far away from anywhere that can replace it. So it's absolutely essential, especially if you've got things like asthma, because last year it was really incredibly dusty. Next up, any kind of sanitary stuff you need. This will all be dependent on who you are. So for me, it's like toothbrush, toothpaste, wet wipe. Trust me, you'll want to bring loo roll or wet wipes, because you never know when one of the toilets is going to be out, especially when you need it. Personally, I prefer wet wipes because it's dual use it for toilets, and if you need like a quick wipe down of your face or just a quick like wash off of any part of your body in the tent, it's great use for that. Next up is clothes. I'm going to say specifically suitable clothes. The weather can range from all sorts there. We've seen years where it's really cold, wet, the typical drown loads. And then last year it was incredibly hot, and sometimes you get both extremes within the same festival. So make sure you've packed for pretty much all weathers that could be expected, and layers are your friend. Like, sometimes it is boiling during the day, but as soon as that sun goes down, it is really cold. Like that happened last year. It was super hot during the day, and then as soon as the sun went down, we were really cold because we didn't bring enough into the arena with us. So make sure you have like a hoodie or just some kind of layers that you can put on or take off, depending on if it gets too hot or too cold. You'll probably want something to sleep on. I mean, in the past we've used air beds, roll-out mats, air mattresses. It's all whatever your preference is, but you want something comfy to sleep on, because it's where you're going to be sleeping for 5 days. Speaking of how cold it can get at night, you'll want a sleeping bag or duvet or something that's going to keep you warm. Personally, I think a sleeping bag's a great one. They're normally pretty cheap, pretty easy to get. Now, the last one of the basics is you can potentially get away without proper footwear, but I would definitely recommend it. I personally use walking boots. I'm actually breaking some new ones in as my old ones are breaking. It just gives you more support in your feet and ankles because you are going to be walking around for miles. You're going to be stood up for hours at a time. So it's good to have something supporting your feet. I have seen people there and trainers that they probably had a great time still, but if you want that support, definitely walking boots. But if you're not going to get walking boots, at least bring wellies. If it rains, you're in fields, loads of people trampling over it. It becomes an absolute mud pit so quickly if it starts raining. So wellies, I would say, could be classed as an essential, to be honest. And not essential technically, but is so highly recommended, is a good all-terrain trolley. Now, we got one for last year, and that made our journey significantly easier. Now, you probably won't be able to do this if you're arriving by train or coach. But if you're arriving by car and you can afford, if you've got the space and can afford trolley, I definitely recommend one, because it makes getting your stuff to the camp so much easier. I should have a picture like here somewhere of the one we use, and genuinely that was a lifesaver last year. I don't think we would have made it as long as we did without that. Now, I'd say that probably concludes the essential stuff, the stuff that if you've got those basics, you can probably wing the rest of it. Enjoy yourself. Like, personally, we've got more gear now than we used to, but with those previous things, we definitely would have been having an amazing time still. So that's like sort of your bare minimums. Obviously the trolley is going to depend on whether you can get one, because with coaches and stuff, but yeah, if you can, get all those things and that'll make your life so much better there. But now I'm going to go into some additional stuff that personally I would recommend, and things that I personally really like having there. So the first one is a camping chair. Now, especially if you're in a group at the tent, then you're going to want to be able to sit down, and what's really good is if you get injured then you can bring your chair to the arena. So if you do end up like twisting your ankle or like breaking something, unfortunately, then at least you've got something where you can go to the arena and still enjoy it, because otherwise you're just gonna be sat on the floor the whole time, which, to be fair, if it's just me or my partner going, we probably wouldn't need camping chairs necessarily, but it does make it so much more comfy. Now, if you're like me, I'm going to be taking videos because I'm going to be making a vlog for it, then you definitely want battery packs, but this is probably mainly for people that want to be recording stuff, taking photos and everything like that. But otherwise, you can probably have less battery packs, but I would definitely recommend it, as otherwise you're going to have to pay for the ones there, and you still need to bring your own wire, I'm pretty sure, even if you are using those ones. Another one that I like to bring is earplugs. I know not everyone's a fan of earplugs, but I like to be near the front, and I still want to hear music in years to come. But even if you're not bringing it for that, you might want them at night, depending on how easily you sleep through loud noises, because there is planes going overhead all night long sometimes. It's really close to an airport, so if you struggle to sleep with lots of noise, definitely recommended. And my final recommendation, is another great one if you're in a group, is a gazebo. It's really useful, like especially when you're sitting around camp and you're just chilling. It's really nice to have either protection from the sun, or if it's going to be absolutely pouring down, then protection from the rain. Yeah, as I said, the weather can vary even during the same festival, so it's really nice to have like a sort of mini shelter. But also, a side note is, if one of your group's tents breaks, then you can kind of like move the tent underneath the gazebo as a last resort if needed, so it's also useful for that. Okay, this is going to be a very crude example because we don't have any of our tents out, but I thought it'd be useful as for the first couple of years I had no idea how to do these myself, so I thought it might at least help one or two people. But we're pretending this is connected to the tent for now. Okay, so what you've got is you've got like the line, and then you've got like this bit, which is what confused me, but essentially you have a loop, and what you need to do is pin that into the ground. Alright, we'll put that in loosely for now just to show you. So you have the loop around there, and then essentially at this point all you have to do, obviously you'd have this more in the ground, but you just pull this towards the tent, or my fence in this case, and what that will do is it will tighten it, and that will give whatever it's connected to more stability. So look at this now, it's quite good. So if you've got, so that's normally on like your tent and waterproof and stuff, but yeah, just thought that'd be useful for some people. If you have any additional questions about festival camping or just general questions, feel free to put them in the comments. I'll try and answer as best I can for all of them. It doesn't even have to be in the same year that this video was made, because I'm probably going to be going to loads of future downloads, so hopefully I'll be able to help. But yeah, if you want to see our experience this year and future years at Download, then make sure to subscribe for that. But otherwise, thank you for watching everyone, and I will see you there.